am Subhaprada, Assistant Professor of Mechatronics Department in MAM School of Engineering. Here we are going to see about the Unit 1 Electrical Circuit Analysis. The electric circuit theory and electromagnetic theory are two fundamental theories which all the branches of electrical engineering are built. Many branches of electrical engineering such as power electronic machines, control, communications and instrumentations are based on the electric circuit theory. Ohm's law. Ohm's law states that whenever a potential difference, that is voltage, is applied across the resistor of a closed electric circuit, the current starts flowing through it. That is, the current is directly proportional to the applied voltage at the constant temperature. Here we have the equation as V is equal to I into R. It means voltage is equal to current into resistance. Here V is referred as voltage, I is current and R is the resistance. The SI unit of the resistance is ohms and it is denoted by ohm. The limitations of the Ohm's laws are it cannot be applied to non-metallic conductors, it cannot be applied to non-linear devices such as Zener device, voltage regulations, etc. It can hold good and only for constant temperatures. Then Ohm's laws can be used in the applications as it helps us in determining either in the voltage, current or impedance or resistance. It makes the power calculation simple. DC circuit theory terms. Here the circuit means it is a closed loop and it conducts electrical current flows from one circuit to another circuit. Path means it is a single line that will connect the elements and sources together. Node is junction and it is a connection or terminals within the circuit, that is two or more circuit elements are connected or joined together in a connection. It is denoted by dot. Branch. A branch is a single or a group of components and it is a resistors or a source which is connected between the two nodes. Loop means it is a simple closed path in a circuit which no circuit elements or node is more than once. Mesh means it is a single open loop that does not have a closed path. It has no components inside the mesh. Kirchhoff's law. Kirchhoff's law is classified into two types. They are Kirchhoff's current law and Kirchhoff's voltage law. First we see about the Kirchhoff's current law. Kirchhoff's current law states that the sum of the currents entering the junction is equal to the sum of the currents leaving the junction. In other words, we can say that the algebraic sum of currents meeting at the junction is equal to 0, where the currents entering are given positive sign and the currents leaving are given as negative sign. That is, entering current is equal to leaving current. So here we have represented the diagram, that is I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus of minus I4 plus minus I5 equal to 0. That is, the plus symbol signs are denoted as entering currents and the minus symbol currents are denoted as leaving currents. So all the current together is equal to 0. Kirchhoff's voltage law. It states that in a closed circuit, the sum of the potential rises is equal to sum of the potential drops. The algebraic sum of potential difference in any closed circuit is equal to 0. That is, summation E is minus summation IR drops is equal to 0. Here we can see that is the voltages across AB, BC and CD and DAR is equal to 0. So the branches, nodes and loop or mesh is identified in this electrical network. Here first we have to identify the nodes or junctions and then branches. Assume the direction of the current in the branch and randomly. Then apply the KCL at the nodes, apply KVL at the closed paths. Then write the equations, then find out the currents and solve the equations. These are the steps for solving the electrical networks. Nodal analysis. In nodal analysis, the network contains three principal nodes, namely 1, 2 and 3. In node voltage method, one of the principal node is selected as reference or datum node. At each of the other principal nodes, a voltage is assigned. This voltage with reference to the reference node. At each principal node, KCL is applied and the equation is find out. In this method, the node voltages are independent variables. So, hence the nodal analysis also called as node voltage. Here we can see the steps for finding out the nodal analysis. First, we have to identify the principal nodes and that will be marked as a reference node. It may be connected to the ground. Second step, we have to find the node voltages with respect to the ground. Third step, we have to write the nodal equations by using the KCL method or Ohm's law method. At last, finally, we have to solve the nodal equations by using the step 3 in order to get the nodal voltages. Next, mesh analysis. In the loop current method, we need to write the equations for many current as a member of independent loops. The number of the independent loop is equal to B minus N plus 1. This is based on Kirchhoff's voltage law and applicable to only the planar networks. In mesh analysis, we can consider the following meshes. So hence it is also called as mesh current method. Let me see about the procedure for mesh analysis. Step 1, we have to identify the meshes and label the currents in either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. The second step, we have to observe the current flow through each element in terms of mesh current. Then the third step, we have to write the equation for all the meshes by using the KVL method or Ohm's law method. At last, we have to solve the mesh equations by using the step 3 and find out the mesh currents. Next, we see about the theorems. There are 4 types of theorems. One is superposition theorem, second one is Thevenin's theorem, third one Norton's theorem, and the last one is maximum power transfer theorem. Let me see one by one in the next slides. Superposition theorem. In a linear bilateral network containing more than one source, the current through any branch is the algebraic sum of currents which would flow in the branch by considering one source at a time while the other source is reduced to 0. Here I1 is equal to I1 dash plus I1 double dash. I2 is equal to I2 dash plus I2 double dash. Likewise, we have to mention the superposition theorem. It is a way to determine the currents and voltages that is present in the circuit with the multiple sources. So here we have one example that is R1, R2, R3 and V1 and V2. So first we have to determine the two circuits. Through this first one, we have to keep B2 as a closed circuit and then find out the V1 with the circuits. Then in the voltage source 2, we have to keep the B1 as a closed loop and then find out through the B2. So this is the steps to find out the superposition theorem. Next, Thevenin's theorem. Thevenin's theorem states that any two terminal linear bilateral networks can be represented as a series combination of VTH and RTH. VTH is the open circuit voltage measured between A and B after disconnecting the load resistance. RTH is Thevenin's resistance that is measured between A and B by reducing the independent source in the network to zero. Thevenin's theorem is also known as Helmholtz theorem. Any bilateral linear active network can be reduced to the simple circuit consisting of Thevenin's resistance and Thevenin's voltage, which is connected in series with the load resistance. The steps for you solving the networks using Thevenin's theorems are: first we have to disconnect the load resistance. Then we calculate the Thevenin's voltage VAB using the loop analysis or node analysis or series parallel reduction method. The third step, we have to find the calculate Thevenin's resistance by series parallel reduction. Then draw the Thevenin's network and calculate the load current by connecting the load resistance between A and BA. Norton's theorem. Norton's theorem states that any two-terminal linear bilateral network having active and passive elements can be represented as a practical current source with IN and RN. IN is the current flowing through the short circuit placed between A and B. RN is the same as RTH, that is the resistance measured between A and B by reducing the energy source to zero. Any bilateral or linear or active network can be reduced to the simple network consisting of Thevenin's resistance or Norton's resistance and Norton's currents or short circuit current connected in parallel with the load resistance. The Norton's theorem is the duality of Thevenin's theorem. Let me see the steps for solving the network using the Norton's theorem. First, replace the load resistance with short circuit. Then calculate the current through short circuit using the loop analysis or Ohm's law or current division rule. Then calculate the Norton's resistance looking from A and B. After that, finally calculate IL using the current division rule. By the formula, IL is equal to IN into RN by RN plus RL. Maximum power transfer theorem. In DC circuits, maximum power is transferred from source to the load when the load resistance is made equal to resistance of the network as reviewed from the load terminals with the load removed and all the sources replaced by internal resistance for finding the vanes resistance. So let me see the theorem that explains the conditions for the maximum power transfer to the load under the various circuit conditions. Here this maximum power transfer theorem is related to the Thevenin's theorem. The same process is calculated here also. Resistive circuits. Let me see the resistors in series and resistors in parallel. In the series combination, if the resistors are connected end to end, the combination is said to be series. The voltage source is connected between the free ends. Refer that the resistors R1, R2 and R3 all are connected end to end. The free terminals are A and B are connected to the voltage sources. So here we can find that R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. The series combination applications are whenever the variable voltage is to be given to the load, the variable resistance is connected in series with the load. For example, a fan regulator is connected in series with the fan. Another example is decoration lights. So the disadvantage of the series circuit is if any break takes place at any point in the circuit, there will not be any current flow. Hence, the entire circuit becomes useless. So this is the main disadvantage of the series resistor circuits. Next, we see about the resistors in parallel combination. if one end of all the resistors are joined to common point and the other ends are joined to the another common point. The combination is said to be the parallel combination between the two common points. A voltage source is connected between the common points. Hence, the current flows through the different resistors. The current is inversely proportional to the resistance. So, that is 1 by R equivalent is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Here, the main advantages is the electrical appliance of the different power ratings may be rated for same voltage. That is, for example, in the house tube lights or fridges or fans, the rated voltage is about 230 volts, but the power ratings are different. In these cases, they are all connected in parallel, but the performance of the others will not be affected. Okay. Then the applications of the parallel circuits are all the electrical appliances are connected in parallel, so each of them can be controlled individually with the help of the separate switch. For example, in electrical wirings in cinema halls, auditorium, house wiring, etc. are the examples of the parallel combination of resistors. Current division rules. So, current division in parallel circuits. First, we see about that. In many cases, we will have only two resistors connected in parallel. So, let these resistors of R1 and R2 which are connected in parallel. So, first we have to find out the total current, that is I is equal to I1 plus I2. So, I is equal to I1 plus, in this I2 we use the current division rule method, that is I1 into R1 by R2, total current into opposite resistance. Then we have to find out for I1 values. So, I1 is equal to I into R2 by R1 plus R2. That means I1 is the total current division rule method we are applying here. That is total current into opposite resistance by sum of the resistance. So, like this method we are find outing the I1 and I2. Then we substitute in the total I is equal to I1 plus I2. R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2 plus R3, and RB is equal to R2 R3 divided by R1 plus R2 plus R3, and RC is equal to R1 R3 divided by R1 plus R2 plus R3. Okay, so for R1 we have to find out by using the following equation, that is R1 is equal to RA RB plus RB RC plus RC RA divided by RB here. That is how they are representing means the R1 to this R1 which the point is opposite, that will be denoted in the downwards. Okay, so next one R2. So for R2, RA RB plus RB RC plus RC RA by opposite point is divided by RC. Okay, likewise R3 is equal to RA RB plus RB RC plus RC RA divided by RA. Next we are going to see about the delta to star transformation. So converting the delta to star transformation, we are using the following three equations. That is RA is equal to RAB RCA divided by RAB plus RBC plus RCA, and RB is equal to RBC RAB divided by RAB plus RBC plus RCA, and find out in the RC value we are equating this RCA RBC divided by RAB plus RBC plus RCA. Thank you.